Well, hello, ladies. Welcome to Her Opinion. I'm so glad you're here. I have with me Maria Elgamal with Pop Studios PR, and I have Sarah Lieberman with Dandelion Cafe. So how I know you guys, well, Marie, come on. You've been on here many times. So.
And welcome to our new...
I love it.
Our
It's
new
fabulous.
studio.
Yes.
You
love it.
Yes. We don't have to do the work. It's all
I know,
done
right?
for us.
That is the ultimate goal.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. The ultimate goal is to have sponsors.
Yeah.
That too.
But I just wanted to, so one of the biggest things about Her Opinion is obviously supporting women and women doing their thing, not just entrepreneurs, but whatever you do and you're great at it, right? Paving the way for other women. So Marie, we work together because of PR and social media and influencing with restaurants. And that's how I was able to meet Sarah and your husband at Dandelion Cafe. And by the way, I love the food.
Yes, we've been there and we've tasted everything.
I don't have a favorite. Everything's
I know
good.
everything was good. Everything.
And everybody's super nice there, by the way. So that's always something that's great about a restaurant is that you, from walking in to walking out, everybody's great. And Marie, you are actually the PR behind Dandelion Cafe, right? Okay. So just a little bit, Jen, I'll let you get, because I can start talking and just keep going. But Jen, I'll let you ask Marie a couple of questions about how their dynamic works and how that's, what this is about. Go ahead.
Well, like I was saying, one of the things that I feel sometimes whenever you're caught up in everything that you're doing, sometimes you forget the important things is really, really showing who they are. And that is what you do for your job,
tell their
PR.
story. Yeah. Elevate their brand.
Yeah. When did y'all meet and how did that happen, that whole dynamic?
So Dandelion is actually about 10 minutes away from my house.
Yeah.
And we first met when I was working with another client. Remember Ara, barbecue client? We went over there. I think you and Ara had already connected. I was representing Ara at the time. He was like, hey, I'm going to go to my friend's new shop. I think you were getting ready to open and we were trying some sandwiches and things. And I'm like, okay, great. Fantastic. We have a new place in the neighborhood because it still has been kind of a food desert over there. And so that's how we first met. Then of course I started going over there pretty regularly and started to like wedge my way in. I was like, I need to manage your social media.
Yeah.
So it started with that. And eventually it took on the social media side of things and then grew into PR. And then that was 2018 when we started working together.
So what's the difference between, working with the social media and the PR side of it?
Oh gosh, that's a loaded question.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Well, in what way?
Well, like for instance, a lot of people, it does go hand in hand, but the PR has to do more than what does the social media, the background to it.
So we use social to tell the story, to show, to showcase what they're all about, to show different elements, show things like the staff and how friendly they are. We do, team posts on the page. The social, essentially what I always tell people is like your mini website. It's the first place people go to when they're going to hear about a business. They want to learn about the vibe. People want to connect with the business. And so that's where we really engage with people, build the audience, get to know them,
I feel like social now is the website.
It is.
It's the website because you're going to go to the socials to look at the food.
Yeah.
You're going to go to see the people eat,
the
right?
visuals. You want the visuals and what's the vibe of this place? What's the environment? But there is also crossover with PR because you want to make sure that the messaging is consistent.
Yeah.
So PR is more about building relationships and getting that media visibility, the visibility with community partners, other businesses looking for cross-promotion, cross-collaboration, which there's collaboration in social too.
And that's what I was going to say, So that to make sure that they are, whether they get, featured in a magazine or, have a spot on
and
TV.
And sometimes social media helps land a PR opportunity.
Right.
Like we did a post for them just after the storm and Good Morning America got wind of it.
That was great.
That helped us.
I got to be there.
That helped us generate another Good Morning America appearance, which is such a valuable thing.
And you're making sure that everything looked right.
Yeah.
Because I saw it and it was just great.
Yeah, that connection is there based off of the PR behind it. But Sarah, now to you. So listen, we know you have a great place. We know the food is great. But how did you get there? how did you get to the point where you wanted to open up a restaurant?
So I didn't want to open up a restaurant, actually.
Okay, there you
I
go.
wanted to open up a coffee shop.
Okay.
But I think you learn in business, especially if you want to be successful, that you have to listen to your community. And so we kept hearing that people wanted breakfast over and over and over again. And I added a small breakfast menu toward the end of the first year, which helped us to get to breaking even, which was amazing. And then my husband came on as the chef by end of year 2. And that really just changed the game for us. And then we started morphing into a restaurant more so than a coffee shop. But, you know, it was really listening to our community more than anything else and kind of giving them what they wanted. You have to be able to change your vision in business to meet the needs of your customers.
But even your background, I mean, you didn't go, you know, saying, oh, I'm going to open up a restaurant. You started off as, you know, what's your education?
Sure. So, no, I did not.
Yeah.
I definitely have experience.
Besides
my family,
cooking in your house, right?
Well, and I'm not a cook. I never have been. Yes, I have cooked. And my family had a pizzeria up in the Northeast, up in Delaware, where I grew up from the time I was 12 years old. So I grew up in this industry, in the hospitality industry. So I did that for a long time.
Did you want to do it?
Did I want to do it? I didn't mind it.
Okay.
I definitely wasn't the hardest worker because it was my parents. You know, I was pretty lazy,
Right.
and you know, there was a time where, when we started, they were like, "Here's $20 a day, work all day," and I was like,
Yeah.
"I do not feel like working."
Not for $20.
I do not. I don't do dishes.
Yeah.
You know, so there's that, and then in college, I went to school for industrial design, which is like product design, and I worked at a coffee shop all through college, and that's really where the love of like the
vision
coffee
came.
shop, you know, the hanging out with your friends at the coffee shop
The
and
coolness.
catching up and going out for breakfast with your friends for just a coffee and a bagel, and it wasn't a whole meal, you know. That's sort of where that idea came from, like a community spot. And so when I had started Dandelion, it was like, okay, we're going to be the local spot was the idea.
And you started in Houston. I mean, you could have started up north, but you came down to Houston. Or
Sure,
how did
so-
that
Sorry,
happen?
not to interrupt.
Oh, no,
but,
no.
Yeah, so I ended up moving down here about 12 years ago. I worked in product design, actually. I worked designing bicycles for a company called Fuji. I don't know if you guys have heard of Fuji bicycles, but I was a product manager for
Not a
them.
I think-
I thought there
Yeah.
was like
I met-
pictures.
They're pretty
I
big.
know
They're
Peloton.
pretty big. Yeah, no. I mean, as far as bicycle goes, they're on
Yeah.
the same, you know, page as like Schwinn and Cannondale and all those. They're pretty big ones, maybe on the smaller of the larger ones. But so I did that for a little while, but got laid off in 2009 when the economy kind of tanked, and I was able to find work in oil down here in Houston. And in the meantime, when I was down here visiting a friend, I had met somebody who met a guy. And
No way.
and you know, we started
Here?
talking and
Yeah.
like
One thing led to another.
Right, exactly. And 2 years later I ended up moving down here,
Okay.
like after I had, you know, met him and been talking to him, and I was able to find a job 2 years after I got laid off, and then I ended up coming down here and working in oil, which was tough because I had grown up in the hospitality industry and had been customer facing, and I started working in an office where I got stuck with the same 8 guys every day. And me, I was, you know, here's this girl from the Northeast coming down here trying to boss everybody around because I was put in charge of quality assurance, which is making sure everybody follows the rules. And they just did not
Nobody
like
likes
that.
that.
So, no,
Yeah.
no, not at all. And so, yeah, I was just like, what am I going to do? And I was like, I'm going back to hospitality. And I started working in catering here in Houston and fine dining catering. And one thing led to another, and I was in my mid-30s, and I thought, I need to grow up. What am I
Yeah.
doing with my life?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I
Wanna
loved
work for
working at that
myself.
coffee shop. Let me open a restaurant, you know? This is
And
what I know.
it's kind of sometimes trial and error. You just don't know if it's going to be a success, or you don't know if it's, you know, and then, I mean, it's great when it is, because when it is, it's like, I knew I made the right decision. But then there's always those times that we don't, you know, sometimes
Yeah.
it's not, or you try, you open something and then you open something else, because we've seen that in the hospitality industry, that like something's open and then it turns into something else. But you've had success behind yours, and I think it has to do, like you said, with the community. People like it right around that area. It's like everybody comes back. When you see a lot of restaurants where people don't come back in Houston, that's kind of hard, because somebody can go to a restaurant and then not come back for 6 months later or a year later. There's so many options. But I will say I do see that you have regulars coming in, customers that are repeat offenders.
Yes, absolutely.
Great
I think
location, too.
we tracked it before, and it's like a 60%
Wow.
retention rate that we
that's great.
have. And it's really, we focus on our hospitality. Like, he and I both grew up kind of in the industry, and the people, our managers, have been in the industry for a long time. And so the generation we came from was really into hospitality. And so that's something, especially as a counter service, like quick service restaurant, we try to impress upon our employees that, hey, we want to give them like table service feel in a counter service place, because you don't get that most counter service places. You just have the interaction at the register, and then you never interact with the staff again before you leave. And so we try to make it that they, they feel like they're being catered to.
Or family in a sense, right? Because I think that one of the biggest things, it doesn't matter, well, big, how big Houston is, that like when you go to restaurants, people still want to feel like they know the owner or they're able to, like they're part of the restaurant in some kind of way. Or you might show up and they might be there and they may be greeting you and saying hi.
And that's what happened when we were there.
Yeah.
I think it was your husband,
Multiple
the
times.
chef, came out, but he was talking to everybody else. And I just thought, you don't see that.
And the staff
Yeah.
is like that
Very
too. I mean,
friendly.
there's times that I've come and it's a young waiter, and he was super nice and super helpful. And nowadays you don't see that sometimes. You see they're just like, what do you want?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I
Well,
get
and people
you?
remember how you've made them feel,
Yes.
and
Oh,
you
yeah.
go into Dandelion, and they're all very welcoming, whether it's your first time or your 47th time. And if it's your 47th time, they know your name and they know what you like to order, and you just feel at home.
Exactly. I think, and that's what we still want. Like, I don't care how big Houston is. I live in Sugar Land, and I have my little spots in Sugar Land that I repeatedly go to because I'm not driving into town, or I'm not so like that area of Bel Air, they're going to come regularly, and come because they might want to see your face, Sarah.
I know.
It's true. We've become like local celebrities almost. We're out, and more people are like, hey, congratulations. Hey, this. And I'm like, I don't recognize you. We've had a conversation, I'm sure of it. I mean, that's the tough part about this industry is I see people every day, and I'll have like good conversations with people about the restaurant, about life, or whatever.
Their life.
I know.
Or their life. And then I'm like, I'm drawing a blank in a year. I'm like, I don't remember.
I
you.
But you
know.
don't
I
tell
feel
them,
so
right?
bad.
You're nice to them.
You
You're
just
like,
play it
yeah,
off,
I
like,
remember.
Right, I do. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to, right?
Or you bring
know,
someone that's never met them before, and you're like,
Please
this
say
is
your
my
name.
friend.
Yes.
Oh,
Introduce
right.
yourself to them.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I've definitely done that.
It's
Yeah.
the worst.
So-
I feel so bad. But it really happens to everybody. It's just,
Yeah.
why can't we just be like, you know what? I am so sorry. I don't know what's wrong with me. Just again, what's the name?
I do
old.
that sometimes. I do.
Just blame
but-
it on my age. I'm old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can't if you're still doing it. You're young, but because I'm so young.
I'm
No, I'm not young, but anyways. So Marie, back to that and back to what we were saying is you've been on the news a lot. I've seen you many times, and that comes from the PR, Marie, and that's getting them all the exposure that they need. And that's a great asset to have to a restaurant because not a lot of people can have that. That's not just something that comes along for free, obviously. But the benefits of it, would you say, how do you feel about having a PR team that helps you to get the exposure that you
Oh my
need?
gosh, I couldn't do it without her. Like, my business wouldn't be where it is today without me, my husband, and Marie. Like, really, it's true.
Yeah.
I know a lot of places that don't have
Right.
PR, and they're just paying software for emails or like marketing packages from companies, and all the time, I'm like, no,
It
the
all
PR.
adds up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
adds up for
it's
them,
worth
but-
it. I mean, it's definitely invaluable and brings people in. It is difficult to track sometimes. I do have to say that when it comes to social media, but we know it definitely works, and we've seen the influx. And getting on Good Morning America was, pretty awesome.
That's pretty cool.
But
I just
the
ran
way
some
it
social
came
media
about-
reports today. I'll be sure to share them.
I mean, and you obviously got, and you obviously got something great out of that,
Right.
that somebody else might not have because they haven't been doing the PR and things like that. Like in the time that we were through the storm, and a lot of hospitality, a lot of restaurants were in a bad situation. how are you going to pay your employees, or there was no power, whatever the situation was. There's benefits that, like, out of that, you were able to get that donation, which was amazing. Like, that doesn't just come around, you know, every day to every restaurant.
Not at all.
Yeah, and it couldn't happen to greater people, by the way.
Thank you.
But and like I said, because when I go in there, truly everybody's amazing, and you hate to see that situation. You hate to see that maybe you're not going to be able to pay your employees for a couple of weeks or a month at a time. And so when things like that happen, it's just great to see, you know. And
It's awesome.
Marie, that's part of your doing as well.
Oh, well, thank you. And I have a great team behind me that
You're welcome.
you know,
No, just
contributes.
kidding. It's me. No, just
Well,
kidding.
but even, you know, having like you ladies come in and, you know, you have the experience and you tell your friends or you post it on social, all those little things, it all adds up and makes a difference. But yeah, I mean, you know, when they're in the middle of dealing with a disaster and trying to figure out how to run their business or take care of their employees' payroll, or what are we going to do with this freezer full of food that's now gone bad, they're not thinking about, what should we post on social media?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so that's our job to fill in those gaps when they're
Exactly.
trying to run the business. And so we, you know, share the word. These are real human beings. We're not trying to put on a front here. And you're just authentic and transparent. And we share it, and someone gets wind of it, and it turns into, you know, more people are now hearing about it, and it turns into a bigger story that ultimately became a benefit to them and the team. And that's what it's all about.
And I love that because you're going to keep your doors open, because there's a lot of places that open up and then, like she said, they close, and then you're like, I love that place. I can't believe it closed, because if something happens like that, the pandemic.
Or people just don't know you're
Yeah.
there.
Well,
Yeah.
just in general, like 90% of restaurants close by the time they're 5 years
Yeah.
old.
Yeah.
So it's a huge amount. Yeah.
And you're consistent. Like, a lot of restaurants aren't consistent either. You can go and get that same item, and it does not taste the same every time you go. And that's important, because you're going to be like, I'm not coming back anymore. The food doesn't taste the same every time I come. Someone different's in the back or whatever. And I think that's important. But I will say that, yes, social media and PR definitely in today's age you have to have, because I don't live out there. I don't frequently go by there. And had it not been out there, or I hadn't been someone to go for social media, I wouldn't have known.
I actually have a funny story. So my husband, he's on social media, Instagram, and he saw one of your, somebody was posting it. I don't know who it was. And then he's like, this place looks really good. He's like, we should go. And I said, I already went. He's like, what? You've already gone? So I had to take him because he saw it. So y'all are out there.
fun.
Yeah.
They're definitely out there.
When you get to go again, you get to try something
Oh,
different,
yeah, I
because
did.
their menu is so diverse.
I know.
There's healthy options. There's something
Yeah,
savory.
but Marie, when you like what you like,
I get
you
the
wanna
same
keep
stuff.
going.
Yeah.
I get like the
Same
same
thing.
3 things all the
Yeah.
time.
I eat the same things all the time,
Yeah.
too. I'm not
You
going to
go
lie.
right back to the one thing you like, and they're like,
Yeah.
but we've got these 3 other. Okay, fine,
know.
but I still want this, you know?
Yeah.
But no, the power of all of those things that go hand in hand to make something great is really important. And I think if you can, and if you're able to set, you know, a budget aside, it's important for PR, for social media. It's hard. You know, not all
Yeah.
businesses understand what's important, what's not when it comes to that. But I think as we see here, it's a success. Excuse
Yeah.
me.
And it works.
And it
'cause,
works,
Like
yeah.
I said,
Yeah.
I will say the reason we even got on Good Morning America is because they were researching the area and found us in top 10 breakfasts or top 10 this. And that's why they reached out to us. So we wouldn't have even had that opportunity, which is, you know, like worth so much
Yeah.
to
Right.
us, that opportunity on Good Morning America, if we hadn't had local like PR and social
exactly.
media out
Being a
there
local
putting
celebrity.
putting us out there and getting us into those local top 10 this year, the best new this at this time of year. And so really it's invaluable. It really is. And it does, it's a little, you know, sticker shock in the beginning, but it really does pay off in the long run. Like, we wouldn't be where we are without Marie and her company.
Well,
yeah.
because you are on the show and we want to plug Dandelion Cafe. You're not just in one location now. So tell us about the locations.
So we have a spot on Rice University campus in their new engineering building. It's the Ralph S. O'Connor Engineering Building. So we have a little cafe there, which is open to the public. You just have to go on campus. We have that. And then within a month, in September at some point, we're going to be opening another location in the Heights at 22nd and Shepherd. So,
Is there
and it
parking?
will be, the parking is a little tough. It's all street parking.
That-
It is all street parking. There's a few parking spots, but it's really pretty accessible. The
Luckily,
street
the
is not
people
full
in the
of
Heights
cars.
like to
Yeah.
So
Uber.
Yeah.
it's true.
Or they walk.
But also within a few blocks, there's not cars parked everywhere. It's
Yeah.
not hard to find
Yeah.
the parking.
Yeah.
You
I
might
think
have to
we're
park
used
a
to
block
that in
away.
Houston, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, but yeah, we'll be opening that one. That one is twice the size of our Bel Air location. So it's pretty exciting. It's going to be a much
Anything-
bigger operation.
Yeah,
Anything
new-
different
yeah.
about that location? Are you doing?
I
any-
mean, it's the
The drink. No.
well, no, it's going to be the same concept as Bel Air, pretty much, but it's leveled up a little bit. You know, it's
no
maybe
DJs,
not quite as
no.
it's not quite
For
as
that young
rustic.
crowd.
You know, when I opened Bel Air, it was like on a shoestring budget. You know, so
Yeah.
we had the ability to like pick out some nice, you know,
To spruce it up.
fixtures
Yeah.
and make it a little prettier. Not that Bel Air isn't pretty; it definitely has
Yeah,
charm
it's
to
just-
it. We
yes.
we like Bel Air a
Bel
lot,
Air
and
is
it's cute.
adorable. When she opened that restaurant, she built the tables, she laid the tile on the walls, she did the painting.
Wow.
I mean, literally blood, sweat, and tears
Right.
to the business.
Right.
So
And you know, at the end of it, it's not about that. It's about the food, the people behind it, everybody in there, the dynamic, and that's what makes it work. And so, ladies, I'm really glad that you came on. We got
you.
to have you here today. I love to
Yeah.
support women doing their thing, like we said. So I hope I can have you guys on again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to.
it.
All right. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.